should say, a designer brand that have recently become very popular. That is really, really nice. Wow, this is so beautiful, guys. Have any of you guys been really excited about the new 2025 releases for fragrances this year? I certainly have, and the reason being is because a lot of these are from brands that I really love, and I was just really excited. I couldn't wait to show you guys. So I actually bought all of these samples from Small Aromas, and they did actually include one other sample for me, which is very kind of them. So I'm just going to go through all of them individually. At the end, I will tell you guys which ones were my favorites. So if you guys are interested, keep watching and we'll just jump straight into it. The first fragrance that I wanted to feature is one from a house, or a designer brand I should say, that have been very popular over the last couple of years. I would say within even the last year, I'll be honest with you guys. They have a really famous and popular fragrance called Soir Maliki. So this is from the house of Dries van Noten, and the fragrance that I have here is called Havana Gold. Now when I initially saw this fragrance, I was excited because it had a lot of notes that I really like. Now for me, ambery and resinous fragrances can go either way. Sometimes they can be a little bit stuffy, a little bit too oversweet, and not my type of vibe at all. So I was really intrigued to see how this one would play out, and I know a lot of people were really excited about this launch. So yeah, we'll just kind of go through the notes and everything. So apparently in the top you have mandarin, licorice, accord, star, anise. Now those were the those were the notes, I should say, that I was a little bit like wary of, because I'm not a fan of licorice at all, let alone star anise. When it comes to fragrances, I just think it adds like a little bit too much of an absinthe medicinal type of vibe, which I don't enjoy. And then the heart has cinnamon, tobacco leaves, absolute, benzoin, and then the base has roasted tonka bean, listen to this, leather accord, and cypriol. Now, what I found really interesting about this is straight off the bat, I thought that this would be quite a warm, spicy, leading into autumn and winter. So they've actually launched this literally at the most perfect time. And to me, this is an amber fragrance like through and through, because you have the mandarin, which typically you'd have a citrus opening anyway in an amber fragrance. Then you have the cinnamon and benzoin. Benzoin and vanilla are usually added together alongside labdanum to make an amber accord, but what they've done with this one is they've added cypriol and tonka. So this automatically is giving me Grand Soir vibes, and so we'll just spray it here. Unfortunately, I don't have any of those blotter sprays on me anymore, so we'll just go with skin. But honestly, you guys, I prefer spraying it on skin anyway. I think it gives you the best experience. That is so, so beautiful. Yeah, that is really, really nice. It's kind of what I found really weird about this is, as I said to you guys, I was really worried that it would come across quite medicinal in the very beginning, but honestly it comes across very velvety and slightly sugary, but in the right way. It's almost like you have you know that dessert churros, and if you've dipped it in like a cinnamon mixed with chocolate kind of paste, it's just beautiful. It's really velvety, it's smooth, it's very ambery. So if you guys are not into warm fragrances, this will just not be for you at all. What I will say is that it doesn't lean very spicy to me at all. So you know, a lot of the times whenever amber fragrances are made and if lots of spices are included, I tend to find that goes quite masculine. Whereas this is just perfectly unisex. Both women and men can wear this and pull it off. I think with the addition of that tobacco leaf note, it kind of reminds me of like a tobacco vanille from Tom Ford, but maybe a less vanillic centric kind of fragrance, which I actually enjoy that in comparison to like a super heavy vanilla, because this to me does not come across super gourmand. It doesn't come across cakey. It's just gorgeous. It's really, really beautiful. And in fact, one of my friends on Instagram, Scented Enigma, he actually did like a full post on this, and it really gave me inspiration to try this fragrance. I kind of had it on my wish list in terms of like different fragrances to sample for a little while when I first saw it, you know, advertised, but then his post just really made me very intrigued about this fragrance, and I think he's since bought the bottle. But overall, I just really enjoy this. This is amber done very well. In fact, it really reminds me of that Graf fragrance that I recently bought that I absolutely adore as well. So which is Graf Lorona number X. So if you guys are into more heavy leaning ambery fragrances, I think this one will be amazing for the autumn and winter. Again, if you like the likes of a Grand Soir, even a Tobacco Vanille from Tom Ford with that slight tobacco, ashy, smoky undertone, this is a really beautiful fragrance. But ultimately, as I said, it kind of leans into that caramel, velvety type of nuance. It's a beautiful fragrance. So we're starting off strong with Havana Gold from Dries van Noten. Now, a brand, I should say, a designer brand that have recently become very popular, and I have the sample here, is Christian Louboutin. Now, they were popular obviously like a few years ago. They have all of those specific red bottles, you know which ones I mean, with the almost caricature type lids where they have different type of personalities in each one. Since then, they've come out with this almost fetiche type range where they have like a stiletto, or I can't even really describe how it looks like. It's like a stiletto type of cone lid, and since then they've launched quite a few different ones. This one that has just launched is Fetiche La Santal. Now, as you guys can probably guess from the name, this is meant to be a heavy sandalwood leaning fragrance. Now, what I will say is I have secretly already sprayed a few of these fragrances. This one disappointed me slightly because I was really anticipating like a heavy sandalwood fragrance, but we'll go through the notes first and we'll get your guys' thoughts. So in the beginning, you have creamy sandalwood, you have milky fig. Oh, actually, it doesn't actually have that many notes at all. It literally just says on Fragrantica fig milk and sandalwood. That's what made me excited, guys. I love my fig fragrances and I love my sandalwood fragrances. So of course I needed to try this one, but this is where it really disappointed me. So I'm just going to spray a little bit here just so it doesn't mix too much with the Havana Gold. Right off the bat, you definitely have a bit of a fig-centric opening. So it's slightly green, it's slightly bitter, a little bit fruity as well. But it's not, wow, it's not, it doesn't have that density. It doesn't smell supernatural or realistic to me. It kind of has that fig type of feeling, but it doesn't really shine through in this fragrance whatsoever. The milky lactonic accord honestly smells like a milk from commodity. It's not a really wow. It's slightly musky. It's slightly lactonic. And again, I was really hoping that that sandalwood note comes through a lot more. Now, sandalwood obviously can take many different routes. To me, sometimes the best way of describing sandalwood is like pencil shavings. It's really soft, slightly smoky, slightly woody. But this is just milky, musky in a bottle. It's not really wow. It's nothing ingenuitive. It's just a very basic, boring fragrance. And that's a bit unfortunate because I was expecting a lot more from this with the elements of the fig milk, and the sandalwood. The sandalwood is very much in the background, which was a massive disappointment. Now, granted, I only have a small 1 ml size sample of this, so maybe I'm not getting the full experience as I would from a full bottle, but I think you can tell quite a lot, you know, from when you're testing a fragrance. I think you can tell straight away whether you fall in love with it and whether it definitely has the type of vibe that you're looking for. So yes, it is creamy, yes, it's lactonic, but is it anything special? Definitely not. So this was definitely, I would say, more disappointing in comparison to the other fragrances. So that is Fetiche La Santal from Christian Louboutin. Now moving on to another disappointment. I have to be honest with you guys when it comes to this. There are a few ones that just didn't like blow me away in this at all. So this one is called Oudous Cerasus from Nishane. Now this one again has been getting a lot of love on social media, and I was a little bit intrigued to see how this one smells like, so we'll go through the notes together. In the top you have cologne, pomelo, Italian mandarin, and maraschino cherry. In the middle you have honeycomb mohunial, which God knows what that is, and Spanish labdanum. Very interesting. In the base you have oud, Akagala wood, which has become increasingly popular, and patchouli. So right off the top, to me, this comes across very fruity. So I will just spray a little bit here. it's a very mild fruitiness. It's almost like you have tangerines or mandarins, like what it suggests in the notes, and you mix that with a medicinal cherry. To me, the cherry in here is just not enjoyable whatsoever, and it kind of has this artificial sweetness about it, and God knows where that's coming from. And I think that is the part that kind of makes me a little bit disappointed about this fragrance. I think if they maybe dialed down this artificial sweetness and just left it with the natural type of orange accord and maybe upped the spiciness from the pimento, that would have definitely given it a lot more character than what I'm getting in here. Honestly, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, these are just my personal thoughts, but to me it comes across a little bit like a generic designer fruity fragrance, right? And it just doesn't have a lot of personality to it. I would have thought with the added Spanish labdanum, it would have added a bit of character within this fragrance, but it just doesn't really appear to me at all. And the oud is a very subtle oud. This is not an animalic oud. This is not a very hard-wearing oud. This is just the type of oud where you have a slight smokiness in the background, right? So I think, again, leaning into the designer realm, a lot of these designer fragrances that typically have oud within the fragrance note, obviously it's like an accord of oud, it's not real oud. You hardly pick up on anything really. It's just slightly smoky, maybe a little bit incensey and a little bit resinous from that labdanum, but overall it's just a fruity, woody fragrance. It's nothing super special. As I say to everyone, please sample beforehand. Don't take what I say as gospel, but this was one that kind of yeah, disappointed me a little bit, but we're going to move on to ones that definitely caught my nose, caught my eye. So yeah, we'll just move on to another one. Sticking with the oud theme, we have one from BDK Parfums, and this one is called Nectar Oud. Now, this one was one that I was very excited for because I love a honeyed, sweeter oud type of fragrance. Now, I was a little bit concerned because, as you saw with the previous fragrance, sometimes oud can either be too animalic or it can be basically hardly there in the background. It kind of adds like a little bit of smokiness, but that's pretty much it. I lean kind of in the middle category. I don't know about you guys, but I quite like a little bit of punch, but not super animalic. Definitely a little bit of smokiness, a little bit of character. So this fragrance in the top features raspberry, oud, saffron, and that's pretty much it. Apparently, it does also feature a little bit of rose, incense, leather, and amber. But honestly, this fragrance really surprised me. So I'm just gonna spray a little bit on my hand here. Wow, straight off the bat, this is a raspberry, but a raspberry done right. This is the type of raspberry that I really enjoy. And maybe the reason why I'm so biased when it comes to this is because I have in my collection a fragrance called Queer Grenade from L'artisan Perfumer. And it kind of reminds me of that type of raspberry. It's both bitter, not bitter, sorry, sour, tangy, but also a little bit sweet. And then mix that with the saffron. The saffron in here is very prominent, but it's not the type of saffron note that is overly spicy. It kind of just adds a little bit of character, a little bit of oomph to the raspberry. Like these two in combination are very well done. I'm very impressed by that in the open. Now in the base, this is where the oud really shines, and it's just bordering on that animalic, barnyardy style, but it doesn't go there, thank God, otherwise I just wouldn't be able to even stomach this fragrance. It almost really reminds me of a Histoire de Parfum, that rare Fidelis, but an easier wearing version of that, weirdly enough, because in that fragrance you do also have fruity accords, you have the saffron and you have the oud, but it's just like a sweeter, more tangier version of that. It's really beautiful. And as I said, like the oud is definitely there. You can tell the oud is here, but it's not a barnyard oud. It's slightly smoky. It has like a little bit of girth to it, you know. If you guys are into more honeyed, sweeter type of oud fragrances with a bit of character, definitely try this one. So that is it Nectar Oud? Yeah, Nectar Oud from BDK Parfums. Now leading on to a fragrance that really blew me away. and I'm very excited to talk about this one. This is from Jusbox, and this is, I believe, an exclusive for Harrods, but I could be wrong. It's definitely inspired by a Harrods type of store, if you know what I mean. So this one is called London Haul. Now, in the top you have saffron, cumin and lemon. In the heart you have Bulgarian rose, freesia, jasmine absolute, labdanum, resin and olibanum incense. And then in the base you have leather, vetiver, cedarwood and patchouli. So right off the top, to me this comes across like a very old school chypre type of fragrance. Now, as you guys know, chypre fragrances tend to be a bit of a hit and miss for me. I know you guys also feel the same way, and sometimes, you know, with chypre fragrances they can smell a little bit too old school, a little bit too musty. Whereas this one I was really intrigued by, so I'm just going to spray a little bit here for you guys. I think this one is probably a little bit more masculine leaning, but I can still see, you know, women wearing this. I can certainly pull this off, that's for sure. So we'll give this, wow. That initial spray is insane. The top notes, you can definitely get them straight away. It has this spicy, very, wow, this is so beautiful, guys. Like, this is just elegance, maturity, different level of class within a bottle. I haven't been this excited by a fragrance in a long time. And what I love about this, it kind of has a bit of a modern twist with it being a chypre. And I think that's probably down to the mixture of this very sweet Amalfi lemon mixed with this, again, sweeter saffron note, leading into a bit of a floral mid and not too much of a mossy, dark green, musty, dusty type of base, if you guys know what I mean. It has a lot of oomph to it with the woodiness from the patchouli, either, you know, from the leathery smokiness that's coming from the base of this fragrance. But what leaves a really distinct mark to me is this underlying sweet, slightly feminine touch with the florals and the top notes, especially with that saffron note. It's a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. Anyway, that is a London Haul. I nearly called London Food Hall. That is definitely not the name. London Haul. So the last fragrance that I have here, unfortunately, was a little bit of a disappointment, and honestly it's my own doing. I did it to myself because I'm not typically a massive aldehydes fan. I know a lot of people like aldehydes, but they're very touch and go for me. So this one is from the house of Byredo, and this one is called Alto Astral. So we're just going to kind of read the notes together. I should have known from the notes that this one was just not going to work for me, but anyway, we digress. So the top notes, we have coconut water, aldehydes, big no. Hot, we have musk, which I'm very funny about, jasmine and incense. In the base we have cashmeran, sandalwood and amber, apparently a salted amber. So this is primarily a floral aldehyde, and apparently the perfumer behind this is Jérôme Epinette. I think that's how you pronounce his name. So anyway, this is an interesting one. I think a lot of people would really like this. Unfortunately for me, it was a little bit of a no, so I'm just going to spray a little bit here. So straight off the bat, you definitely get this coconutty, but not your typical gourmand coconut, almost like shavings that have been diluted in this really weird washing up liquid, musky type of thing that's going on. It's very powdery, it's slightly lactonic, slightly milky. It just smells like laundry detergent, honestly. It kind of goes into that realm, and probably what's contributing to this is the cashmeran mixed with that musk and then mixed with the aldehydes. I think those three notes in total just create powdery, musky, lactonic all together, and that's kind of what's giving me that laundry detergent type of feeling with this fragrance, which is a bit unfortunate because I think they could have done a little bit more. Actually, I do get the coconut. Maybe if they dialed up the coconut, and maybe if they added something as a bit of a juxtaposition to that, maybe like a bit of pepper, a little bit of spice, to go against that really musky, powdery type of feeling with this fragrance. It could have done really well. Anyway, that one was a little bit of a disappointment. I don't know what I was really expecting from it. Honestly, I did it to my own damn self. So from Byredo, we have Alto Astral. So guys, that is it for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed. I thoroughly enjoyed myself, if I say so myself. I really enjoy trying new fragrances and also other people recommending fragrances to me. So if you guys have any other 2025 releases that have been on your radar or that have been thoroughly enjoyed by you, please comment it down below and I will catch you in my next video. Bye guys!